Hello, this is ELB. Let's get back to work. So last time we got our animation system, or our sword weapon swing animation system working pretty much exactly as intended. However, it sort of highlighted some issues with the what the hell do you call it? Why am I forgetting what it's called? The collision detection. There we go. So look at our test attack. Here, let's try this again and actually connect. Didn't look too bad there. However, we have some minor problems with this, aside from just the collision. So the sword is supposed to end right where it starts. See, it's at... You can't see my finger, what am I doing? It sort of went back a little bit too far, which I'm thinking might just be a plus or minus one error. So I'm going to see if I cannot fix that real quick. Oh, just did it again. So I have it at attack timer is above or equal to recovery time end, which it's pretty much the same thing, above or equal to attack time end. So I'm trying to think of exactly what might be causing the issue here. Because it goes to recovery time end, and that's it. And then an attack state 4 happens, so... I'm gonna do a -1 right here just to see what happens real quick. Because I am a little bit curious. It still went further than it was supposed to, which is a little disheartening, honestly. What if we did it -5? Also, I should note real quick, I do not have a lot of time today. I gotta get to work at 4 p.m. and it's 3:23 right now, so fun stuff. So let's see what happens with the recovery. There it ended where it looked like it was supposed to. So what on earth is going on here then? I'm gonna test one more thing. So if we're going forward 60... No, we're not going forwards. No, we're going forward 32. Let's go back 32 and see if we end up in the same spot when this is as it should be. Also, I have never heard this remix of the song before. Huh. Anyhow, let's test it. We ended up exactly back where we were supposed to, but it still bends back a little bit farther as well. I wonder if that was just an error on my part, to be honest. I had it set to 455. Oh, wait a moment. Did it start it? No, it started at 90. Okay, I see exactly what's going on. Pfft, I'm stupid. 90 plus... This is an easy way to do it. Computer, what's 90 plus 360?
The sum of 90 and 360 is 450.
I don't know if you could hear that, but my Alexa dutifully told me that 90 plus 360 is 450. So it should go back right to where it's supposed to. Everything works exactly as intended. I was just being stupid. Awesome. That's even better. So what does this mean for us? It was probably 8 before, but I don't care. So this means all we need to focus on is fixing our collision. Now, right now I can easily tell you an issue that's not helping with the collision. So, during a step, an attack, or when any sort of movement is made, the game tends to recognize it as the player moving 5 units or something along those lines, right? And it'll do so in a single step. Now, or in a single game tick. Of course, what the game is doing is it's detecting it's detecting the collision for every pixel that the player makes, or that the player moves, ensuring that there's never any sort of problem. We'll never collide with anything incorrectly. However, that is not the same with our sword. And I'll show you what I mean. If you've been watching this, then you should be aware that we can show exactly what the mask is, as in the hitbox. So the hitbox, you'll see it during the actual attack. That big black thing right there. Now, here, let me fix this real quick. And attack state equals 2. This will ensure it only appears when we're actually attacking. Observe. For that brief moment you can see it. That wide black box. Now the reason it's so wide is to ensure that we can actually accurately hit things. Because if it's simply going through stuff, then that's not good at all. Or going around stuff, I should say. Because remember, one unit, one step or game ticket might be here, then the next the sword might be here. So if it's a bit wider, then it'll still connect with the enemy. But we have another problem to deal with then. We can't make it forever wide if the blade is moving way too fast. So how exactly do we want to do this? So I've been putting some thought into it, and I could either segment out both the movement of the player as well as the swing of the sword and the movement of the sword itself, or I could try to create a hitbox on the fly. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I can even do that, which is a problem in and of itself, but I think it's worth a shot. So let's look at our options. So the thing that we have to deal with first off is the fact that these are the only collision options that we have. We'd probably still be using, what do you call it? Where is it even? Point rectangle. Collision rectangle. There we go. Because then we could do our precise options. There is also the option of collision or rectangle and rectangle. No, is there no like line and rectangle or anything? I guess not. That's unfortunate. Okay, well. So collision rectangle is still probably our best bet. But what I'd like to do is to be able to dynamically change the hitbox to ensure that the hitbox that we're using is in fact the entire space that the sword traveled already. Now, whether that's really feasible or not, I'm not entirely sure. So let's take a look at our options. What I'm thinking is we might do draw primitive. Now, where are we? Here we go. So what we could potentially do is take the tip of the blade and the end and the base of the blade, and then draw one of these primitives that connects where it's been for like every step in its rotation almost. Save that as as a sprite, and then make that sprite the hitbox, which is kind of, I don't know, it might be really slow. I'm not entirely sure. So let's see. Let's look at sprites. Adds an image from a file to the set of sprite assets. Well, that's fine and dandy for loading things, but what about sprite create from surface? Creates a sprite by copying an area from a surface. Okay, so that doesn't seem too awful. If we can somehow set a surface and then drawing the entire thing to a surface though might be dangerous. Yeah, I don't like it very much. Let's take a look at our collision options again. You know, I'm looking at the example that they have right here with obj enemy, if collision line, yada 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 yada. That's not the worst idea, actually. What I'm thinking is, depending on the size of the weapon, it wouldn't be too difficult to, say, create a line that shows where the sword has been, if that makes any sense. Like, say we have I'm going to use real world measurements for this example. Say we have a 2-foot sword, okay? And every foot along the sword, there needs to be a line that shows the point of the base, the middle, and the tip, and where it was, and where it is that second, and where it was the previous second. So in a swing, it definitely won't be perfect, but it'll show you where the sword was that entire time, right? So yeah, I don't think that's totally unfeasible, honestly. We'd have to do those collision checks a lot more, and obviously it would be more than just like every foot, or it might be like every 3 or 4 pixels or so, but it should work, I think. And I think it would give us a more accurate collision. Building it is an entire another matter, or an entire different matter, and I don't really have time for that today, but I think that would work. Whether or not it would actually be cheaper than just rotating the blade itself constantly, or making the rotations of the blade slower, I'm not so sure as well. Um, hmm. God, that attack is cool. Hold on, I'm gonna make it way... Just... I only have a few minutes left before I gotta get moving, but... What is it? Where's 32? Let's move 64 just to make this attack even more badass. Oh, it didn't even hit. And that is why we need to improve the collision detection. It does look cool. Even when it doesn't hit. Yeah, so to go over this, I do believe that the collision line option will be best. The only problem is that means we're gonna need to go over the collision after a movement has ended. So after this. But I don't think that is an impossible task. I think it's a very reasonable one, in fact. At the start of the step, we determine where the blade is. Then at the end of the step, we determine where the blade is. Compare the two, create 3 lines or however many more between them, and presto, make our collision go off of that. It still won't be perfect. I don't think there's any way I can make it perfect, but that's where I'm at right now, and I'm liking the idea. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Hope this hasn't been too boring of an episode, and I hope you have a wonderful day.